for 17.9, but you can't see our puppy because of it. So he's super cute. Well, it's great to be with you guys this afternoon. Kimmy and I have been thinking about what kind of content would be really interesting and relevant to students. It's such a busy time of year. Lots going on with, I'm sure, your classwork and thinking about finals, and then we're pushing into holiday season, and we've got a pandemic and on and on. So we really wanted to try to create an experience this afternoon that would be about you specifically, and rejuvenating and fun, we hope, and enlightening altogether. So I'm going to talk to you today. We're going to facilitate a session around Zone of Genius. And the workshop that I've put together is based on a book by Gay Hendricks, but I'll say it's not specifically out of his book. So he gets the attributes for the content and the kind of the overall design, but we've really kind of tweaked it to make this relevant and our own for you. So what is our zone of genius that we're going to talk about today? This is really about unlocking our whole self in how we come into the world, in our work, and in our relationships. And it's today we're really hoping to kind of help you start to find your superpowers and build a set of reflection points that kind of get you sort of thinking about yourself and your skills and your abilities a little bit differently, kind of a different kind of construct. So that's kind of the high level goal for our conversation today. And once we are working within our zone of genius, time no longer becomes relevant. We find that we're doing not just work that we're good at, but work that we really truly love in meaningful ways. And really by being in that zone is a way for us to achieve, I think, our fully highest potential for, again, our unique attributes that are a part of how we move in the world. So what we are going to do is I'm going to have, make sure you've got your pen and paper ready. We're going to go through an exercise. So everything, the activities and the skills that we do in this world really fit into 4 quadrants. Most of the work that we do, we as students, we as interns, we as colleagues, we as parents, we as siblings, we as sons and daughters. Okay, there's 4 zones, a place where our work will occur, 4 categories. So on your paper or in your on your laptop, I want you to draw a quadrant, 4 quadrants. So you've got kind of an upper quadrant, then one to the side, then one at the bottom, 4 quadrants, okay? And we're gonna start in the upper left quadrant. I want you to label that quadrant your zone of incompetence. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what this is. And then I want you in that quadrant to list out the skills and activities that you're doing in that quadrant, okay? So here's what our zone of incompetence is, all right? These are the things that we are really bad at, things that other people can do a whole lot better than we can, that when we're doing them, it takes a lot of our energy. Like when we finish that activity or that task, we're tired, we're drained. And oftentimes the result of us doing this thing in our zone of incompetence is really not that good, not that great. So take about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Okay, take about 15 more seconds. Okay. All right. Now move to the right, to the quadrant to the right of that, and title this one Zone of Competence. So these are the list of things that we do that we're okay at, and others can do them just as well as us. And if we're doing them, oftentimes the results are probably just okay. But when we're doing these things, sometimes we find our stress and our anxiety might be higher when we're working on these tasks. And we oftentimes spend too much time working in our zone of competence. So take again 2 minutes to 90 seconds and write down those activities. Okay, 15 more seconds. Okay. How we feeling? Okay, good. Some thumbs up.
I wish there was like a list of tasks, because as soon as you ask me to list things, I'm like, oh, I just don't do anything. But
Yeah. It's okay. You do a lot. We
You're
do a
just
lot
perfect at everything, Kimmy.
I mean, one of the strategies when you do this is to think about, a given day, the things that you do in a day, if you're struggling, or a week, or in your job, so there's no wrong way to do this. But at this point, we've sort of tackled, our zone of incompetence and our zone of competence. We might be feeling a little bit bummed out, recognizing all the things we may be doing these two categories. All right. So in your bottom left-hand category, I want you to write your bottom left-hand quadrant, right? Zone of excellence. Okay. So these are things that we do in our lives that we do really well. We are often hired to work in our zone of excellence. It's often how most people make a living. If we do these things in our zone of excellence, we typically have good outcomes. And oftentimes, because we're good at it, we enjoy it simply because of the success that it brings us, right? So think maybe the next job promotion or a pay raise or some kind of other sort of positive reinforcement. But the zone of excellence can be also pretty seductive and pretty tricky for us, because this work here may not be as satisfying as if we were operating in our zone of genius, right? So we might feel as if when we're working in our zone of excellence that maybe we're leaving something behind. Maybe we haven't reached our full potential. So start to put a list then of those things that you're doing in your zone of excellence. Welcome. We have a few new people. Hi. Okay, take 15 more seconds. All right. So our final quadrant, this is going to be our zone of genius. So this is where we're going to start to list out the things that really are our special talents and our strengths. So these are kind of the natural gifts that allow us to do things that are uniquely suited to us. And when we're doing these things, we find that time has no meaning, that oftentimes maybe this makes us the happiest, maybe our heart sings as a result of doing this work, that if we're doing them, we could do them all day long and not be tired or bored by the activity. So I want you to start writing down, take 90 seconds, put down what those things are in that zone of genius. Go.
So does this category have to be something we're necessarily good at, or things that we just enjoy doing that we don't have to really think about?
Enjoy doing. Yep. The things that you're good at would probably be in your zone of excellence if they're not bringing you ultimate joy. Fifteen more seconds. All right. So when I first did this exercise about 6 months ago, right around COVID, I looked at my quadrants. I found that my zone of incompetence was almost comical, right? Like the list of things that I even attempted to do that I was really not good at. I had an unfortunately long list in my zone of competence and an even longer list in my zone of excellence. And I don't know about you, but I'm being very honest. My zone of genius was pretty light. I mean, I really struggled with this exercise, which I really wanted to help facilitate it for others. So, part of putting these things that we do day in and day out into these groups, into these quadrants really helps us, I think, understand also kind of how we spend our time in a given day, right? Are we doing the things that are, making us happiest or helping us move forward kind of to the goals that we have for ourselves? So hold on to those quadrants, and we're going to make a slight pivot here. And I'm going to ask you to make another list, a different kind of list. Okay. And then we're going to bring these things together. And the list I want you to put at the top of your paper somewhere is I want you to list the 8 things that you are most proud of in your life. And these have to be actions. So things that you did. They can be big or small. They can be things from personal life, personal relationships, things through school, academic achievements, things you do in your community, a way you maybe handled a situation, big or small. But the things that if you look back and the things that 8 things, I want you to pick 8, number them out, the things that you are most proud of in your life, list those out. And I'm going to give you 4 minutes to do this because I feel like this is a really important step in the process. Okay. So we're going to take some time to build that list.
This one really has me thinking.
I'm short.
Mhm. You still have about one more minute. All right, 15 seconds. Okay. Deep breath. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into breakouts. I'm going to put you, well, Kimmy's going to put you in groups of 3. Okay. So there will be 5 minutes per person to do these instructions. So 15 minutes total. All right. To the extent that you are comfortable, I recognize this is widely a group of strangers. Okay. So to the extent you are comfortable, I want you to share a few of your proudest moments from that list with the other 2 in your group. Okay. We are not recording this. The 2 people that are listening, I want you to sort of do active listening. So here's your instructions. So as that person is sharing, what themes are you hearing regarding this person's traits, skills, and natural gifts that are coming through as they're sharing stories about their proudest moments? It's kind of what's behind the scenes. What are we uncovering behind that list that was created? And then you're going to share your thoughts back. So within 5 minutes, you have to both articulate your proudest moments and give space for the 2 listeners to reflect back to what they're seeing behind the scenes. Does that make sense? Okay. So by listening to others who are probably don't know you well, but have gone through the same exercise, we're trying to unpack those natural superpowers that they're seeing that are sort of just underneath those list of moments. Okay. And I'll send through, or maybe I'll have Kimmy, because I don't think I can I send any note to the whole group when 5 minutes to switch? You may have to.
Yeah, I may have to. In fact, I'm not even sure that I can like keep you out of a breakout room unless I make you the host.
Okay. Do you want to just let me host real quick?
Yeah, and I think you'll see, hopefully you'll see that the breakout rooms are ready to go.
Okay. That way I'll send you guys note posts when the 5 minutes are up so you can switch to the next person. Okay.
I think it does mean that there might be one group of 4 if we divide who's here into 6 groups and keep you out of it.
Okay. Yep. Well, wait, create. No, that didn't work. 6. Yep. We're good. I got it. Okay. All right. So I will go ahead and create this and then I'll be able to broadcast to you at every 5 minutes. Okay. Any questions? All good? All right. Great. Here we go.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing okay.
Is it just me and you?
Is it? I don't know.
That can't be right. That'd be fun though if it is.
It would be fun.
From Melissa Carrier to everyone. Do you see that at the top of the screen?
Yeah.
What is it? It just says instructions. And it is recording. I can stop it though.
So, hold on to these ideas about using these reflection tools as you start to continue to navigate your zone of genius. I'm not going to take any more time debriefing on this, but I'm going to pass the baton to Dr. Bates, who is going to wrap up our conversation today.
So all of you guys hopefully had a great conversation around your zones of genius and 8 things you're proud about. I know we had great conversation in a short group I was talking with, and I hope those 2 young ladies are able to connect past this operation, because I'm a senior and a sophomore, and I really think you guys can connect and move forward. But what I really want to go through over the next 10 minutes is really deep dive on, so we've talked about the zones of incompetence, we've looked at our zones of competence, we've looked at our zones of excellence, and we look at our zones of genius. And where we thrive at, a lot of us, where we're excited, as I listen to one of the people in my group, what gets her excited is her business, what she wants to invest more in. That is what our wheelhouse should be about. What do we do very well, very strong, in making sure that that zone of genius is something that we wake up and gives us purpose and meaning. And along with that, I want to just add 2 bits to that. Once you find your zone of genius, once you find what wakes you up in its purpose, I want you to think of it from a career development growth on the personal and professional side, about how you look at the 5 C's of leadership and how you become a social mobile individual for the future. I say that because the 5 C's that I have up here listed, courage, character, caring, and communication, and competence, will be a part of who you become, who you develop into. And for those I had a conversation with about who are trying to build a business, it'll be a part of the fabric of what drives your purpose, your zone of genius, and the ability to have social mobility as you further go on in life. So it's important for us to understand that, because I think a lot of things that we are doing and talking about today are important. First of all, as a 5 C's, you have to have some courage. So I'm talking to the 2 individuals that remind you have courage. Everybody on this call today has courage. You're on this call. So first and foremost, that's courage. Second of all, you are doing something that is exciting, something you're into. As I heard the passions come out from the individuals I talked about, that is courage. Not everybody has that. You had the courage to come to UNC, right? And you know that you want to do something around your life that will give you that social mobility. So look at courage every day that you wake up as being a part of who you are, in part of your personal and professional development towards whatever career objectives and goals you have aligned with your zone of genius. Look at your character. And I'm not talking about these characters. I'm into Marvel as far as that's concerned. So I love Captain Marvel and Luke Cage. But your character will be defined by your purpose-driven life, by using your zones of genius to be able to take you to another level, to develop the things that you see around you that needs to be changed, needs to be engaged, and to really speak to how you are. You're on the stage right now at UNC where you're developing a lot of your character, of what you believe, what you stand for, and how that will have a factor in your life, even when you leave us. So understand that courage and that character will go hand in hand. But at the end of the day, I always believe what Martin Luther King would say as one of his famous quotes: the function of education is to teach one to think intensely, then to think critically. But intelligence plus character is the true goal of education. You're here because you're going to use that intelligence and the character that you grow while you're here at UNC to move our society, yourself, and your communities forward. Take that to heart. Caring. I think what I heard a lot in my conversation is that a lot of us need someone who cares, but at the same time, we need to care about something. And something that we care about is while we're in school. We either care about getting good grades, our major, or what we want to do in our lives. And a lot of times we need people around us to support. So I ask you today to also be somebody who is thinking of caring for and supporting others, but also understanding that as a leader, you will need to care for others as well. And so understanding that of how you have a helping hand, as I told individuals in my call, reach out to me if you need support, if you need more. This is a struggle, of course, going through college, but you're not alone. You have individuals that understand that, hey, there's going to be rough days and there's going to be good days. But the biggest thing is that we care. At UNC, we're a Tar Heel family, and Tar Heels take care of Tar Heels. So it's important for us to understand that. Communication will be key as a leader. I heard a lot of great discussion in ours in communication. I seen the young folks coming up and really putting down the wall and having this discussion of what is some of the things that scares them, what are some of the things that makes them tick, what are some of the things they're very much interested in doing, and some of the things they don't like doing as far as that is concerned. But also understanding their zone of genius, the things that they're so focused on, is really what's getting them going. So how do we use that to communicate to others that we are living a purpose life around our leadership, around our zone of genius and communicating to that others when we need good things to help us get past through in some of our days, and when we need certain things to make sure we're encouraged to keep going down that train track and heading towards the right direction, even sometimes when we feel like we're going to be derailed. And it's important for us to understand that. James Hume says it a lot: the art of communication is the language of leadership. So I'm looking for you young students on the call to really think about what is your leadership, how you would define it, and how will you communicate what you're doing? Because even in the call that I was in, I told them, you are surrounded by those who want to see you successful. Communicate that with us. Understand what you have in front of you that can be used to your advantage to make sure you are important and make sure that you are someone that we want to see communicate and be successful moving on. And competence. And I know we talk about the zone of competence because it's things we're good at, things we feel like others could do as well. But the quality of a leader is reflected in the standard they set for themselves. And you're at UNC. And I know you're at times like, do I belong? Everybody's smart, all this other great stuff that's going through your head. But yes, you do. We wouldn't take you at UNC if we know that you couldn't belong here. You belong here because we said you belong. We said that you are setting a standard not only for yourself, but for us here at UNC. Your competence level needs to go through the roof, if I say. And I know it's hard to be young and think about, I'm competent, but you are, because you've been doing things to this point that has set a standard for yourselves that you need to continue keep doing in your personal and professional life moving forward. So when you look at caring, competence, courage, communication, all these different 5 C's can really speak to your skills you will need as you develop as a young person on your professional and personal life, in your skill sets, whether you become entrepreneur or whatever you may major in currently right now to move you forward. So I say this, working over in with University Career Services, that one, you're going to need some soft skills. You're going to need some analytical skills, quantitative skills. You are the digital age children, I call, when it comes to technology and the different things moving forward. You're the most diverse group coming to college or in college at this point in time, particularly. You're also great critical thinkers. You might not think like, oh no, I'm not critically thinking. Yes, you are. You, if I put everybody in this room together, anybody involved with Carolina Innovate, we can innovate and solve all our problems. Why? Because you guys are the ones that I know, if I put in a design think model, could create all kind of great things that we can follow into and really change what we're doing in our society as a whole. And I truly believe that. I also believe that you guys have a character and an attitude like any other generation I've never seen before. You're truly feeling like I can be the CEO tomorrow, as I've heard in my talk with my group, and I'm feeling saying, yes, you are. Why? Because that is what you grew up in. You grew up in an age of the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gateses, the founders of Instagram, TikTok, all the other great stuff. And so I say that, why not? Why not you? We live in a society that we see that with great character and great attitude, we can do anything, we can become anything, and we can be the youngest at everything. As I told the young lady, I hope I see her in 6 years as the CEO on the cover of every Fast Company, Inc., Diverse Issues magazine that's known to man and woman across the world, because you already have that attitude, you already have that character, even in our conversation, to see that you're going to do great things. Another thing is team. There's no I in team. We've all heard that before. Together, everyone achieves more. And I really believe we're in a society right now and working with students that they like to work in teams. They like to work in balancing things off of each other. And for some of us, we all play a different roles in teams. We're not always going to be the leaders. Sometimes we're the followers. Sometimes we're the project manager. And sometimes we're just the cheerleader for individuals within that organization. But you are a group of people who are very curious, creative, and innovative. And I want you to use that to your advantage. Because as an entrepreneur, whether you're a future entrepreneur or you plan to go out into the workforce, that is what we will be calling for and looking for with this next generation. Why? Because if anybody would have told me 20 years you could get a job in social media, I'd have laughed. I would say, hey, where can I sign up right now? And I say that because your social mobility will be the key to jobs that are not even created today. The jobs of the future, the jobs that will be different, that you will be able to learn what you look from a critical thinking standpoint, using your skill sets from around digital, quantitative, and analytical to adapt to an ever-changing market that always is changing every 5 to 10 years. And that's the key to it for you today, is to use your zone of genius to take you to the next level, to be socially mobile for the future of opportunities that will exist for you or that you even create. And the biggest word I live by is flexibility. 8 months ago, nobody told me we would be sitting here right now having this discussion via Zoom. And so what we've learned is flexibility is a key to our lives and that anything is possible. I tell everybody that, you know, you guys are on Instagram, Snapchat, all those good things. The last time that we had an economic downturn was in 2008, 2009. All of those that we take it granted for today was discovered. Uber, Slack, all that stuff came over the last downturn. So when we have our backs against the wall, when we're kind of feeling kind of sad, we got certain things going on in our lives, do know that innovation is always there and around you. And I'm waiting to see who on this call who will be the individual who would take what we learned today through the Zone of Genius and through this discussion and say, I am inspired to go and do more and better. I am going to graduate from UNC and put my best foot forward to have a social mobility future, to be able to engage in different things long-term, and to ask myself, how would I be and how I lift as I climb? Because one of the things I want you to do is not only go out and be great graduates of UNC, but I want you to come back and impart wisdom, talent, and everything else into the future generation that is standing behind you from that perspective. Because we have a lot of alums, a lot of people who want to come back and give their time, talent, and treasure, and I want you to do the same thing. But the skills you need are very important for you to understand that social mobility that you will create and move forward, along with those 5 C's of leadership, will be key. There's 5 things I want you to understand that will be key for you in creating what I call your board of advisors. 1, get a mentor that is in your field. If you don't have a mentor that is specifically in the area that you want to go to, so I'm talking to the young folks that were on my call, if you don't have a mentor that's in the field of discovery or entrepreneurship, find one. 2, get a mentor that is around your same age. Why? I understand that I always get somebody a little younger than me. So one of you guys can come, Jarvis, you can mentor me. Why I say that? Because you keep me young, you keep me understanding how society is evolving, and the work I do is important to the future of students that are coming behind you. Number 3, get you a mentor. But of course, it's a little older than you, right? As I say, somebody with a little gray hair. I don't have any gray hair, so I'm not that old. So that's one of the biggest things you have to think about and challenge yourself of, because again, wisdom comes with age, experience, and exposure. So it's important for you to understand that. For all those on the call today, I'm gonna hit you with something that might have you thinking, and that is get a mentor that doesn't look like you. I'm gonna say that again. Get a mentor that doesn't look like you. I am a man of color, a Black male, and I would say go get somebody that doesn't look like me as a Black male, and vice versa. If you don't look like me, get somebody that does look like me. Why? Because if we're really talking about moving forward with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we're truly talking about creating an anti-racist society, that is the best way to break down some of those barriers. And last but not least, if I have men on the call or women on the call, get someone of the opposite sex. And I know I'm talking also speaking from a sexual orientation and transgender standpoint. For the simple fact of it all, we always don't think alike. What was the old saying? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And I think it's very important because we have different perspectives. And some of the best mentors I've had in my life have been women who really gave me a different perspective that as a man, I just say, there's a problem, I need to solve it and get it done. And I have to take a step back because they actually point me in the right directions and steps to say, nope, Tierney, I know you just want to solve the problem, but there's also a miniature problem. And there's this over here that you haven't thought of. So it's important for us to understand that. So I hope you look at the 5 pillars I call of mentoring or your board of advisors, the skills you need to be having that social mobility for the future jobs that you will create, and also the 5 C's of leadership to understand that you need the courage, the competence, the communication, caring, all that moving forward, really create the zone of genius for your future.
So does anybody have champagne to pop or like, oh my God.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bates. And thank you so much, Melissa, as well. I hope that everybody else found that insightful and inspiring, and hopefully feels a little re-energized after that. I know I do. And I know that signing in for an extra Zoom meeting is not at the top of everybody's priority list these days. So thank you so much. It really means a lot that you all joined us. And I hope that you were able to get as much out of that activity and that exercise and that beautiful speech by Dr. Bates as I did. I do need to make a plug that Innovate Carolina is hosting meet and greet events on November 11th and November 12th. And that will be a great opportunity for you to potentially find said mentor that you may be looking for. So please make sure you sign up for our newsletter, or follow us on social media, or shoot me an email, and we'll get you those links so you can get registered for November 11th or November 12th. We do collaborate with Career Services for that event as well. So thank you so much again, Dr. Bates and Melissa, and thank you everyone. Have a great evening.
Yep. Take care. Thanks,
Thank
Kimmy.
you.
Thank you.
Y'all stay safe.
All right. You're on mute.
I said, I think it went great. Thank you all so much.
Yeah. Way to tie in. I think the activity with your five C's